Okay, good question. This gentleman asks, what do you say to the person who says, Cliff, I'm a theist. I believe there's got to be some type of God or gods. There's too much evidence for God's existence for me to be an agnostic or atheist. But who is this God or gods? What's the character of this God? What's this God like? That is the next logical step. After you reach the point of theism, realizing there's got to be some type of intelligent mind behind this complex cosmos, the next logical question is, well, who is this creator? Who is this intelligent mind? What's this God like? And it's right there that you and I hit a brick wall. Because there's no way that you're smart enough to figure out God, and there's definitely no way that I'm smart enough to figure out God. But that should not perturb me. Because there's no way that I'm smart enough to figure you out. And there's no way you're smart enough to figure me out. The only way I'm going to get to know you is if you open up and reveal to me your name, what you like, what you dislike, how you like to spend your time, what recreation you like to do, what your major is, what you'd like to do for work. It's the only way I'm going to get to know you. Similarly, that's the only way you're going to get to know me. Similarly, that's the only way we're going to get to know God. Now that's where Muhammad, the avatars of Hinduism, Zoroaster, Jesus Christ enter the picture. All of these individuals claim to be revealing God accurately. But the problem is they contradict each other. Yes, there's similarities, particularly in the area of ethics. You'll find the golden rule in every major world religion. But when it comes to who is God, what is God like, when it comes to how should I live my life, specifically every day, when it comes to what's life after death really like, and what's the way to life after death, suddenly they start to contradict each other. So they can't all be right. They're either all wrong, or else one of them's right. But due to the fact that they contradict each other, they can't all be right. Well, how do you determine what's true? I think it's simple. You look for evidence of reliability. How do you determine what's true in math? You look for evidence. How do you determine what's true in science? You look for evidence. How do you determine what's true in history? You look for evidence. How do you determine whether a fellow human being is reliable enough for you to trust them with your wallet? And how do you determine, no, that guy's not reliable. I'm not going to entrust that person with my wallet. You look for evidence of reliability. We'll do the same thing with Jesus Christ, Muhammad, Zoroaster, Jimmy Jones, Shirley MacLaine, whoever you're considering. Study them, their lifestyle, their teachings, their death, what happened after their death, and ask yourself, does the evidence point to this individual being reliable, or does it not? When you read the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you will discover that Jesus lived a sinless life. In John chapter 8, he could look into the faces of his enemies and ask, which one of you can prove me guilty of sin? And his enemies were silent. John, who lived intimately with Christ for almost 3 years, could write about Jesus, in him is no sin. He lived the type of life that I, in my best moments, wish that I could live, but I don't. It demands respect. It's a piece of evidence that Christ is reliable. Secondly, read his teachings. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Those are not the teachings of a madman. Those teachings have the ring of truth. The majority of my atheist friends like the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. His teachings point to his credibility. Thirdly, watch him die. Read about him, nailed to a wooden crossbeam. And instead of cursing his enemies the way I inevitably would have, he prays, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Tremendous credibility. Fourthly, and most importantly, 3 days after he dies, he physically, bodily rises from the dead. And over a period of 40 days, he appears to over 500 people who see him at different times, in different places, risen from the dead. The grave of Buddha is filled, and I respect Buddha. He was a tremendous altruist. The grave of Muhammad is filled, and I respect Muhammad. He led the Arab people out of polytheism into monotheism. The grave of Zoroaster is filled, and Zoroaster taught many wonderful teachings. But the grave of Jesus Christ is empty. That historical resurrection sets Christ apart as unique. That is why it is so wise to put your faith and trust in him.